Przeszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj padł niesej smutek, glodnielo i rano utek, niech ich małżeński majsak, do kierowilne staje prach. Už se bojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě jich kůži, právě to jedno a ta si dáme jedno a požadem si umí jako poslední den. Můj se máví, ano rada stávy, a tak ty pasudy a posaď se mi sem, tak posaď se sem a ty pál je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zejtra jen tu svou nejdem, tak nalej mi hned a točí se svět. A není to naposled.
Marquardt von Aulitz.
Takže zdravím, jdeme pokračovat a pokusit se dostat Johanku ze spáru inkvizice. Ještě jednou se půjdeme přeptat na toho inkvizitora.
Where can I find this inquisitor?
He's staying here in the monastery grounds. His quarters are on the upper floor.
What exactly does an inquisitor do?
The Inquisition is a papal institution that deals with heresy, so people don't succumb to charlatans, false prophets and deceptions, and put their faith and their immortal souls in jeopardy. The Inquisitors have all sorts of powers, the kind we here can do very little to stand up to.
And what can he do to Johanka?
I'm not entirely sure. These legal issues are very complicated, but he could certainly excommunicate her, and maybe even sentence her to death.
What actually happened here?
Johanka told me you went to Auschwitz?
Yeah? What's that got to do with anything?
The Inquisitor showed up here not long after you left. Apparently he heard about Johanka's preaching somehow. He even observed one of her sermons outside the town in disguise. He had her brought to him and spent a long time trying to discourage her from what she was doing. But then she went out again to preach about her visions outside of town. But before she even started, the Inquisitor turned up with Fabian and the guards. He said Johanka had ignored his outright ban, and he had her taken away. Then he warned the people there that Johanka was spreading heresy, and undermining the church's authority, and forbade them to listen to her.
That's all? Didn't you speak to the Inquisitor?
No, actually I didn't. He saw me there listening to her preaching, and I was afraid to come forward and talk to him.
Aha. Well, that's understandable.
Thanks.
It sounds pretty serious.
It is. I'm afraid it could be very serious indeed.
Who is this Bishop Yaroslav?
I've never heard of him before, but the prior has. He said he's very well learned and the Bishop of Sarepta.
Sarepta? Where's that? Moravia?
No, it's far, far away, near the Holy Land. He got the title from the Holy Father himself.
Titular bishop? Like he's not a real one?
It's, let's say, an honorary title. It refers to a diocese that no longer exists. And since a titular bishop has no diocese to oversee, he can devote himself to handling other very important church affairs, like ordaining other prelates, for example, to maintain succession through the centuries down from the time of Christ and his apostles.
Who is this Bishop Yaroslav?
I've never heard of him before, but the prior has. He said he's very well learned and the Bishop of Sarepta.
Sarepta?
No, he got the title.
Do you believe Johanka is really being visited by the Virgin Mary?
Well, yes, Henry, I do. The things she says and the way she speaks. She doesn't sound like herself at all. I know she can't read, so where else could she have got it? Frankly, I can't think of any other explanation within the bounds of this world.
Who is this Bishop
I've never heard...
Sarepta?
No, he got the title.
And this bishop came all the way here from...
Sarepta, but I doubt he's ever been there. It used to be a bishopric in the days of the Apostolic Fathers in Phoenicia, near Israel, but it was ransacked by the Muslims. Now it's just a titular bishopric. And Yaroslav is the titular bishop. Take care now.
Tak pochválíme pejska.
Good fella. That's my... Good fella. That's my boy. That's a... That's my boy. Look what I've got for you. You'll love this.
Jdem si poklábosit s inkvizitorem.
There's nothing to see here. On your way.
Sir, I am...
Henry of Scarlets, from the garrison of the Royal Hetman, Sir Radzig Kobyla. I've heard a lot about
ten je
you,
dobře
my son.
informovaný, to
I'm
nevidím
pleased
dobře.
to meet you.
Bishop Yaroslav, sir, my lord, to what do I owe your interest in my humble self?
I was told you survived the massacre in Scarlets and warned the Townburg garrison. You tracked down the raiders of a stud farm in Neuhof, wasn't it? To their hideout in the woods. And then you led Sir Radzig and his armed company there and joined bravely in the skirmish, and even killed their notorious leader by your own hand. And I believe you have many other deeds to your name. That's quite remarkable, considering your age, is it not?
Well, you're too kind, Monsignor. I'm just trying to do what's right, and what's needed.
Quite rightly, too, my son. I expect we'll be hearing more about you. But I assume you didn't come here to exchange pleasantries. Or am I mistaken?
No, Monsignor, you're quite right. I'm here about Johanka.
Naturally. I'd be quite surprised if it were otherwise. So, tell me what's on your mind.
And what will happen to Johanka now?
I must weigh the gravity of her transgressions and investigate these alleged visions of hers. I consider it very improbable that she is indeed being visited by the Blessed Virgin. Nevertheless, I cannot at this time rule it out entirely.
So you think it could be true? In that case, Johanka hasn't done anything wrong.
It's not that straightforward. Even if her visions were real, she was at fault for interpreting them as she saw fit and preaching to the people.
When will you decide, Monsignor?
As soon as I am fully informed of the facts. Although it seems the matter is a little more complicated than I first thought. I will call Johanka and the witnesses, question them, and then pronounce a verdict.
And will there be anyone there to defend Johanka?
Do you doubt my judgment?
I would never be so bold, sir. But surely it would be only just that someone should speak for Johanka about all her good deeds and so forth.
Naturally, I will also question those who would speak in her defense. Since you are interceding, I expect you have someone in mind?
Yes. Actually, me.
As I surmised. But this matter does not directly concern you. Why should I allow you to appear before the court?
Johanka is my neighbor, and I have a Christian duty to come to her aid. I can't just stand by and do nothing.
You've done your duty by coming forward. That's enough.
Please, Monsignor, let me defend Johanka. I grew up with her in Skalitz, and I know she's a good girl who has no bad intentions.
No, Henry. Johanka must answer for her own actions.
I serve the royal hetman, and his interests are mine. To see justice done in this province and to quell unrest.
Laudable, no doubt. But bear in mind that Lord Kobola is a secular governor, and this matter is subject to church law, in which he has no jurisdiction. On those grounds, I must refuse your request.
Please, let me defend Johanka. She deserves it. If you do, I'll make a donation to the church to show that my intentions are sincere.
Thank you for your donation, my son. I will see to it that the money is used to help those in need. Your concern seems sincere, so I will grant your request. Very well. You will defend Johanka. You may speak in her defense if you so wish, and you may also bring witnesses. I will question any such witnesses, and naturally I shall question Johanka too.
Thank you, Monsignor. In that case, I'll need to speak to Johanka first.
That won't be possible. It's forbidden by the Inquisition procedure. Until the entire matter is resolved, Johanka can speak only to me and no one else. I would like to expedite the matter. The trial will take place in Sassaw Church in 3 days' time at the latest. Come and let me know when you're ready to proceed. In the meantime, I will continue my investigation.
Very well, Monsignor. I had better get on with it then, sir. Farewell.
Before you go, you know Johanka longer than anyone else. You spent a lot of time with her, as I've discovered. Tell me, my son, truthfully, what do you think of this whole affair?
Ty vole, co mám říct?
Johanka is an honest girl and virtuous. She's a good Christian who attends church and thinks of others.
Good. Please continue.
Ahoj, Smajl, úsměv.
Ahoj, Darkitten.
About the Virgin Mary? I believe the Virgin does visit her. Johanka is honest. She wouldn't lie about such a thing. And the things she says sound truthful and compelling. It really does seem like a heavenly revelation. Who else could it be from? But the Virgin Mary.
The origin of these so-called visions of hers must be investigated. But thank you for your candor. Is there anything else you can tell me?
Johanka helped a lot of people. She worked her fingers to the bone helping Brother Nicodemus with the sick and injured.
That is certainly commendable. What else can you tell me about her?
To bych snad ještě mohl.
Before, in Skalitz, Johanka was sort of, well, just a simple village girl. I never imagined I'd hear her talk in the way she does now. She's completely transformed.
A simple village girl. I see. Do continue.
That's about all I can tell you.
Is that really everything?
I have nothing more to add, Monsignor.
I believe you're keeping something from me. Lying to a bishop is an insult to Jesus Christ himself.
She's worried about Matthias. He's from Skalitz too, and she's very fond of him. But he was wounded in a raid on Merhojed recently, and since then he's been lying in a fever. Johanka believes that if she does what the Blessed Virgin wants of her, Matthias might be healed.
Interesting. Anything else?
That's about all I can tell you.
Is that really everything?
I have nothing more to add, Monsignor.
I believe you're keeping something from me. Lying to a bishop is an insult to Jesus Christ himself.
That's about all I can tell you.
Is that really everything?
I have nothing more to add, Monsignor.
I believe you're keeping something
Ty
from me.
vole, to je
Lying
teda
to a bishop is
rozhovor.
an insult to Jesus Christ himself.
Maybe. She didn't treat everyone equally. She took better care of her former Skalitz neighbors than of the other patients, of course.
It's understandable, yes. Some people are dearer to her than others, but whether by doing so she sinned. Anything else, Henry?
That's about all I can tell you.
Thank you, my son. One more thing before you go. Let me remind you that it's your Christian duty to report anything suspicious going on concerning the church and the true faith, if you're aware of anything of the sort in these parts. If you prove yourself a commendable servant of the church, I would also take that into account in judging Johanka's case.
All right, Monsignor. I'll bear that in mind.
Farewell.
Jej, demone. Takže. S Matějem mluvit nemůžu, kolik mám peněz. To je málo. Takže já se budu muset stavit do Přibyslavic pro prachy, protože nevím, jestli nebudu uplácet stráže a podobně. Spíš asi jo. Ještě se stavím tady za nápravníkem, jestli bude svědčit v její prospěch. Ale protože nápravník je starý hajzl, tak o tom celkem pochybuju.
God be with you.
Jo,
I found this document in the woods by Sasau. Careful, it's a bit bloody.
Don't tell me those fools got themselves. Oh, to hell with it. And did you come across any Cumans?
Yes, they're finished.
There now. It's not such a fuck-up after all. Here's some money for you. It was supposed to be for those idiots, but it seems they asked for 100 groschen more than they deserved.
I need something from you, sir. I suppose you heard that Johanka was locked up by the Inquisitor and is facing charges of heresy.
I did, and it's most disturbing news.
What you might not know is that he's agreed that I can defend her at the trial.
You? Do you even know what to say?
Well, I'm preparing for it. I'll think up something, don't worry. But I need you to testify at the court. In Johanka's defense, of course.
Naturally. You don't think I could just sit here and do nothing? Besides, the bishop has already insisted that I appear before the court.
Oh. All right.
One moment. I apologize if I was a little hasty. This whole affair has left me anxious. I appreciate that you want to defend her. However, I don't think it would have any effect. No offense, but I don't think you'll be able to achieve anything in court. I'm afraid the Inquisitor will judge as he sees fit, whatever anyone says. But I have an idea how you could help.
Oh? How's that?
Flee. With Johanka, of course.
No, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm sure Johanka will be acquitted by the court and everything will be all right. Running would just confirm the Inquisitor's suspicions, and she'd always be looking over her shoulder.
I don't agree. As I said, I don't believe you can affect the outcome of the court. If Johanka flees, yes, she'll have to lie low for a while. But in time, it will all blow over. You can take her anywhere, as long as it's far enough from here. A girl like that will always find her feet. She can easily hide out somewhere where she's not known. Maybe there could even be a place for her on my estate. Think about it. But whatever you decide, if Johanka comes to any harm, you'll have me to answer to. I'm very fond of her, and her of me, and I don't want anything to happen to her, understand? But if everything ends well, I'll show you my gratitude, I assure you. God be with you.
No, je to sice hajzlík, ale aspoň na té Johance mu záleží.
Yeah.
Tak a taky musím pořídit nějaký mluvky, protože to je na ukecávání lidí dobrý. To znamená vzít to přes rataje.
Yeah.
Zase tam byla bitka, ale nemám čas. A vlastně ani potřebu. Peníze by měly být v truhle v dostatečném množství, už si myslím. A ještě vezmu nějaký loot, který prodám.
Rook and Lumiere, a known pair of troublemakers. Fighting again, are you? What's it this time?
Rook is a filthy, thieving magpie.
This bastard is a fucking liar.
Now, you can insult each other in your own time, not mine. What happened?
As you know, Master Bailiff, I've got a daughter, and this Rook here has a son. And like you'd expect, the son is as much of a beast as his old man. He put a belly on my girl, and then turned his back on her.
A likely tale, you lying scoundrel. We're a decent, honest family, sir. But that daughter of his, nothing but a whore she is. She seduced my son. And what's more, this thieving bastard stole my cow, too.
Enough swearing. One at a time, and settle down. What's this about stealing a cow?
When that no-good son of his wouldn't do the right thing by my daughter, Rook here agreed in the end to give me a cow as compensation for her honor.
And I did. Only then, that slut ran off with some minstrel. Where's the honor in that? And besides, it could be anyone's brat she's carrying.
Tell me more about your daughter.
Pretty as a picture, and a good lass. Though a little flighty. She had her head turned by that coxcomb, and he put her in the family way. And then he wouldn't marry her. And who else would take her with a youngster? So we agreed on a cow in compensation.
That much is true. Only, I'm sure you'll agree, Master Bailiff, where there's no honor to lose, there's nothing to compensate. A girl that runs off with some wandering jester.
What could she do when she couldn't show her face in public? That's what you paid for.
What about this son of yours?
Well, he ain't the brightest star in the sky, but he's a kind soul and a good worker. That slut of a daughter of Lumiere's got him all worked up, got herself pregnant, and then broke his heart. I talked him out of marrying her myself, because I'd rather give this bastard my best cow than my son.
I won't listen to this. That boy is a simpleton and a brute. And for sure, my daughter never went with him of her own free will.
I wanted no more to do with Lumiere or his damned daughter, so I agreed to the compensation instead of marriage. And no sooner was the deal done than the slut ran off. And I want my cow back.
You'll get nothing. A deal is a deal. It's your fault I've lost my one and only daughter.
I've heard enough to know how things really stand. A bargain is a bargain, whatever unforeseen may happen. The cow belongs to Lumiere.
Thank you, sir. I never doubted your wisdom.
You call that justice? I won't stay another minute in a village where the bailiff takes a hand in daylight robbery.
Judy will never believe me. I saw Margaret.
Hey, who's there?
Tak se podíváme. (1735). To je zase o něco míň. Aha, možná ten sedlák odešel. To jsou věci. Kolik je hodin? To asi ještě zvládnu do Ratají.
Yeah.
Tady někde vedla dolů cesta, ne? Abych si zase nezlomil páteř jinde.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
A když jsem do tebe nevrazil, nekecej. Tak, tady bude asi zavřeno už. Nicméně zkusíme to.
Onions that'll even make your man cry like a little lass. Come and buy some.
Sakra, to má pořád... To je ale blbý, jako my jsme to nekradli z těch lidí, to se kradlo až z té dlažby tam, to je nějaký bug tohle. Tohle střelíme, tohle střelíme. Mám nic ráno, to třeba bude už nekradený. To je prdeli, že já debil jsem to tam vyhodil na tu dlažbu.
God be with you. What can I do for you? Goodbye.
Tak, není tady nic kradenýho. Není. Jo, myslím, že tam mám na opravu jednu. Ne, tak to opravím sám. Ke krejčimu musím, ale ten bude mít určitě zavřený. No, jistě.
How's it going?
Koupíme i recept. Kdyby nebylo zbytí, 3 nejsou zas tak moc, no já si ho asi po každý dám radši před každým rozhovorem.
Yeah!
Hey, lad! Don't you want a little wager on the ratte tourney?
I've got something for you. I got them from Uncle Peshek. Just don't go poking them where you shouldn't.
They're locked.
Ježiš, ještě sejvovici
They're not
jsem
really
si měl
intended for
koupit.
poking in your own locks.
True, but at least don't get caught. And if you do, you didn't get them from me.
I've got something that needs stitching up. Could you do it for me?
All right. I can't have you walking around in torn rags, can I? Show it here.
Třeba bude mít ještě otevřeno.
Yeah.
Protože vařením sejvovice se mě nechce ztrácet čas.
Yeah.
Tak, to je fajn. Kolik mám měsíčků? No, prodám. To je dost. No, i když tohle radši ne, jako kdo ví, co ještě budu vařit. Nechám pro psa.
Yeah.
Got me.
No, za Tereskou potom se stavíme těsně před soudem, protože to mě přijá na charizmatu. A před soudem se bude fakt počítat asi úplně všechno. No jo, vzbudit se na hřbitově, to je sen. A to už je podruhý, minule mě to taky doneslo tady na hřbitov. Tak, ještě bych se mohl opravit já a najíst. No hele, už to není kradený. Neboj se, ještě je kradený, to je divný. Jo, super. Takže honem do Sázavy přemlouvat svědky.
Yeah.
What was that noise?
Tak tady s těma lidma, kterým jsem pomohl, by snad problém být neměl.
May the Lord watch over you, Henry.
Well, how did it go with that husband of mine?
I played him and took him for everything he had.
I see. So he played again.
I had a heart-to-heart talk with him, and in the end, he promised he wouldn't gamble again. He even gave me his dice.
That sounds promising. Thank you, Henry. But what about the money he lost? Did you give it back to him?
Yeah, I gave it back to him so he can buy what he needs.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Henry.
I need your help with something. I'm sure you've heard. Johanka was locked up by the Inquisitor.
Who hasn't? The whole of Sasso is talking about it. And the Inquisitor was asking around about her.
I'd like to ask you to appear before the court and say something in Johanka's defense.
I can't say I'm keen on going there. But Johanka helped me. And you did too. I think it's only right that someone should say something good about her.
Ah, thanks, Guta. I appreciate it. I'll send for you when it's time.
Tak, teď zkusíme nahnat rychtáře, což bývá nadlidský úkol. A to si možná toho mluvky vypiju. No, teď já mám teďka kurňa. Mám zkažený staty těma nočníma můrama.
That donation to the town, did it help?
Indeed. And even some townsmen were inspired to promise donations too. Whether it's out of the goodness of their hearts or to glorify their own names. In the end, the important thing is, I don't have to demand anything from the townspeople for the common good. Imposing extraordinary taxes never does much good for a bailiff's popularity. Once again, I thank you in the name of the whole township.
Master Bailiff, Inquisitor Yaroslav is going to try Johanka.
I know. He was here asking questions too.
Oh? What did he want to know?
Various things, like how things are here, whether people are honest, whether we observe the fest days and so forth. And then he asked about Johanka, about what she preaches, whether people come to listen to her and that. He's been talking to a lot of other people in Sasau too. I even heard that Katra, the swordsmith's wife, invited him to dine with them.
That's interesting. Thanks for telling me. Was he just asking questions, or does he want you to testify before the court?
Yes, he did ask me to testify, and I'm none too happy about it.
I see. And what are you going to say about her?
It depends what I'm asked, but there's not much I can say. I don't know Johanka very well. She seems virtuous and self-sacrificing to me. She's never done anything wrong, and no one here ever had a cross word to say about her. Until recently. Maybe some gossip about her and Sir Sebastian. But I've heard similar talk about half the women folk here.
Johanka has helped a lot of people here, selflessly. Her heart is in the right place.
True. But then there's that preaching of hers. Folk have been falling out. They're split according to whether they believe Johanka or not. I don't know quite what to think of it myself. But I don't want to jump to conclusions. I'll wait and see what the learned bishop has to say.
Thank you for speaking openly, Master Bailiff.
Tady uplácet ne. To by se Inkvizitor asi dozvěděl. Jedem za tou kutou. Od mečíře. Proč pak ho asi zve na oběd? To je tady ne, to je preclík. Ach, pojď sem ty.
I'm here about Johanka.
You're that fella of hers, are you? What do you want?
No. I'm just a friend of hers. Matthias is her, fella.
Huh. God knows how many she has.
I heard you invited Bishop Yaroslav to come and dine with you?
Yes, so what? Bishop Yaroslav is an esteemed visitor to Sassau, and it's only fitting he should be suitably hosted by devout burghers.
What have you got against Johanka?
Nothing. The question is, what has she got against us? Tell me that.
What?
She turns up here and tries to tell us how to live our lives. Says the Virgin Mary whispers to her in the night. Yeah, I'm sure. To a simple village wench. I'd like to know who's really putting those ideas in her head. She's just getting people all worked up. Men, especially. Coming around here with her nonsense. Sassau is a decent, orderly place, I'll have you know. We don't want any trouble here. All this talk about hellfire and the end of the world. God have mercy. No one is interested in what she has to say. All they want is some spectacle. She ought to have thought twice before she started. Not that she wasn't warned.
What do you mean, warned?
As I said, she was told.
Damn it, woman, tell me what you meant by that.
I didn't mean anything by it.
Out with it!
If you must know, some of the fellas want to have it out with her and tell her to stop. No one wants her speeches
No,
here.
tak už víme, kdo je poslal.
Would she listen? No. The devil possessed her to bring harm to us.
So it was you who sent those men?
All I wanted was to protect the Sassau folk against her poisonous tongue. And I'll do just that. The Monsignor asked me to testify in court. And I'll tell everything I know there.
And I'll do likewise. Farewell.
Go. God be with you.
Máme nenávistnou práskačku vrbitou. A koho teď ještě máme? Zapomněl jsem v Ratajích vykrást faru. Tak, Pavla, Adélu, Nikodéma, jasně. Ale ještě bychom měli promluvit s Johankou. Což tady už zase bude uplácení zcela na místě, protože pokud mě za něj strážnej pustí za prachy, tak se tím nikde chlubit nebude, že? I když mám pocit, že se to prolátne, no ale to je takový.
Hey, clear off. No one's allowed to talk to Johanka. Bishop Yaroslav's orders.
I'm sure the bishop wouldn't mind if you had to go and answer a call of nature. And if it were a nice long call, there'd be a few groschen in it for you.
Don't even try it. I'm warning you.
Come on now. Just between the two of us. Johanka is my friend. She has no one else but me. The Inquisitor will surely take her away, and I'll never see her again. I just want to say goodbye to her before she disappears forever. What would you do in my place?
Well, since you put it that way, but I'd be taking a big risk, disobeying the bishop's orders. You'd have
Jasně,
my head
kolik
for it.
chceš.
Of course. I wouldn't expect you to put yourself at risk without a reward.
All right, go on then, but make it quick, eh?
For sure. Thanks a lot. I owe you. Johanka, are you all right?
Yes, Henry. I'm fine. I'm glad to see you.
I spoke to the Inquisitor. He wants to put you on trial.
I know. It's all in God's hands now.
No, it's not. I mean, it is, of course. But the bishop has allowed me to defend you.
You want to defend me? Thank you, Henry. That's very kind of you. But you needn't bother. Our Lady won't let anything bad happen to me. I am her instrument, and I am completely in her hands. Everything that's happening is her sacred will.
But I won't stand by with my arms folded. You need someone to testify for you. As I said, I will defend you.
If you insist. Maybe it's the will of the Virgin that you came to me. So be it then.
What did Bishop Yaroslav ask you about?
All sorts of things. Like how the Virgin Mary visits me, what she shows me, and about preaching to the people. Actually, he was really quite pleasant. He asked me about Skalitz, whether I go to church, and a lot of other things. And in the end, he told me I mustn't speak in public again about the visitations and that. But I couldn't obey an order like that. The Blessed Virgin is testing me, and I have to do what she asks, no matter who or what stands in the way.
I'd say he wasn't too happy about that.
No. He came there with his men, dispersed the people, and had me arrested and locked up here.
I went to Ujits, like you asked.
That's good, Henry. I hope you purged yourself of your sins.
I did the pilgrimage of penance, like you said. And in the church, I begged the Virgin Mary for forgiveness.
And she will bless you, Henry. You're a good man. Remember that. And don't stray into wrongdoing again.
I won't.
No, nikoho jsem nezavolal od
I
té
made a
doby.
donation to the church, too. And the parish priest there, Father Godwin, he was asking about you.
Was he? Well, what did you tell him?
Oh, just about everything that's going on and the things you were saying.
Uh-huh. Good, Henry. The more people who hear about it, the better.
Johanka, I really don't think this is going to end well for you. But there's another option. We can flee. I'll lure the guard away, pick the lock, and we'll vanish into the woods. Tonight, we'll run far from here, where no one knows you, and you can start a new life.
No, Henry. I can't do that. The Blessed Virgin led me here, and here is where I belong. I won't run away like a criminal.
Tak, my ho budeme muset nějak přesvědčit, aby se těch kázání vzdala. A to myslím, že bude muset nějak promluvit s tím jejím milým.
To heal, mutt.
Salami, sausages, meat of all shapes, sizes.
Good boy. That's my boy. That's a good... That's my boy. Good boy. That's my boy. Look what I've got for you. You'll love...
No, vem si, já je jím taky.
Magical ointments, protective amulets, love potions and talismans to give you the luck of the angel.
Tak, do hospody za tím kupcem.
Yeah.
Jo, tady je.
Goodman Pavel, you're still here. That's a relief. I was afraid I'd miss you.
Yes, still here, but not for long. I had some business to deal with, but now that's out of the way and I'm getting ready to leave. What was it you wanted?
You might have heard that Johanka was arrested by the Inquisitor and is facing trial.
Indeed, word has reached me. Poor girl.
I'd like to ask you to speak to the court in Johanka's defense.
Of course, Henry. You have my word. And the word of a burgher of Colleen ought to mean something. But to speak in defense of someone accused of heresy is no small matter. What do you want me to say?
The same thing you told me. That it was a sacred sign that you happened to be nearby when Johanka was speaking, and so on.
True. I'll tell the bishop that. You can rest assured.
Thank you very much. Please wait here a few more days for the court to convene, then I'll send for you.
All right. For Johanka's sake, I'll wait. See you later.
To jsem trošku přehnal s tím jídlem.
Yeah.
Tak, ještě teďka svědectví těch dvou mnichů z té nemocnice. A hlavně si promluvit s tím Matějem, nebo jak se jmenuje. Ten se mnou ještě nechce mluvit.
What the?
Aha, tak moment. Nikodém Fabián. A jo, Fabián, to je, myslím... Jo, to bude... To bude farář z města, z kostela, mám takový pocit.
Brother Nicodemus.
You've heard something?
The Inquisitor has decided that Johanka will be tried, but he's agreed that I can defend her.
That's really quite unusual. It must mean he hasn't come to a clear conclusion yet.
Yes. I'll get her out of it.
I'm afraid it may not be that easy.
No, vysekaty by šlo možná
I
doslova.
expect Johanka will say the same things before the court that she's been preaching.
What are you saying?
Well, I've been thinking about what she's been saying, and it seems to me her preaching has a certain progression. Are you acquainted with the notion of the three orders of man?
Not really, no.
It's like this. It's said that everyone has their God-given place and purpose on earth. Laboratores, oratores, and bellatores. Those who work, those who pray, and those who fight. The common folk are born to work, to reap the fruits of the earth and to obey the laws of God and man. It is the purpose of the nobles to protect the people and the church against all dangers, and to maintain peace and justice on earth. And the church, in turn, has the task of caring for the spiritual welfare of all, ensuring the salvation of their souls and bringing solace to the people in times of hardship, so that they can endure their earthly trials and enter the kingdom of heaven.
But what's all that got to do with Johanka?
Well, I noticed in her first sermon she primarily addressed the concerns of the common folk, and in the second,
No
she
jejda, teď bude
criticized the
kritizovat
nobility.
církev, že?
Ah. So you think she might start talking about the church?
Yes, I'm afraid she might. I dread to think how that might end up. Henry, you must warn her against that. She must show humility before the Inquisitor, and the wisest course would be to admit to being wrong. I'm afraid Johanka's fate is mainly in your hands now. I'm relying on you. May the Lord watch over you.
Tak, dáme si znovu kolečko. Jestli už s náma bude mluvit, Matěj nebude. Takže znovu za Johankou. A stavíme se i za tím Fabiánem, i když to je marný, ten ju nemá rád, Johanku.
Yeah.
Tak jsem zvědavý, jestli budeme muset znovu solit, anebo jestli to spláchne ten první úplatek. Ale je to jedno, peněz máme dost a už tak nějak v celku nemáme za co je utrácet.
About that trial?
Yes, the trial.
I'll get some people who will testify for you in court. But Brother Nicodemus is worried you'll say things that will make the Inquisitor angry. Please don't do that. You have to talk to him respectfully, answer his questions with humility, and not say anything to annoy him. And don't say anything against the church or priests. Please.
I'll say only what the Blessed Virgin wants me to say.
Johanka, please. You mustn't say anything against him or the church. Be contrite. Maybe even admit you might have been wrong about some things. I don't think the Inquisitor is so bad. If you submit to him, he'll drop the charges.
You too now. You're speaking exactly the same as his assistant. The two of you joined forces against me, did you?
I've nothing to do with him. I didn't even know he was here. Believe me, I'm really trying to help you.
You don't believe me anymore, do you?
I do, Johanka, I believe you. But in court, you must speak reasonably, prudently. A lot depends on it. Maybe even your life.
I appreciate your concern for me, Henry, really, I do. But you must understand. I can't deny that the Virgin Mary visits me, or what she wants to tell us. Not now. After everything that's happened, I can't.
Tak, teď už se mnou snad Matěj bude mluvit.
She won't heal Matthias.
But you have to consider yourself and what's good for you. Surely you don't want to be convicted of heresy. That won't do anyone any good, neither you nor Matthias.
I've already told you. Everything is in the hands of the Blessed Virgin. I will accept with humility the fate she grants me.
Oh, Sakra. This is going to be a right mess.
Jo, jasně, ale ještě skočím tady za tím farátorem. No to jsem ani nemusel na koně, že?
Father, the Inquisitor has had Johanka thrown in jail.
I know, son.
He's planning a hearing.
Rightly so. It's about time this whole matter was dealt with.
What do you think about it, then?
As I say, it's a good thing that the matter is being investigated. The things Johanka has been preaching are, to say the least, disturbing. Who knows what these dreams are that she speaks of? And her words are only putting ideas in people's heads and leading them astray. Now, instead of going to church, as they should, they go to her in the false belief that they will find solace. It's creating a chasm between the people and the church and leading them away from the true teaching left to us by Christ. They're misguided and swamped in heretical ideas.
But Johanka is no heretic. She's a good, kind girl who's only trying to do the right thing. I'll defend her.
Suit yourself. But mind you don't get ensnared in her fallacies, and leave it to the bishop to judge the matter.
Of course.
Goodbye.
Tak, ten teda v moc jí v prospěch asi mluvit nebude.
Yeah. Love.
Taste of prunes for what ale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jo, ještě tady budu potřebovat svědectví Adély.
Adela, the Inquisitor is going to try Johanka in court.
Oh, Lord. I hope she's acquitted. I was absolutely devastated when they took her away.
I need people to speak in her defense, and I'd like to ask you to do it.
I don't want to go there. Really. I'm afraid of that Inquisitor. But you helped me, and so did Johanka. It's only right that I should try and help her. But what am I supposed to say there? I'm just a simple village girl. I don't know anything about these things.
That doesn't matter. You just be yourself. It should be enough to talk about all the good Johanka does here, and how she helps others. I'll send for you if you're needed.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Witnesses can be summoned for Johanka's trial. So I wanted to ask you if you'd give a testimony. Maybe some learned speech in her defense?
I'd be glad to do it. Johanka deserves my help. Such testimonies could carry a lot of weight. You should try and get as many as you can.
What actually happened here?
Johanka told me you went to Auschwitz.
Yeah?
The Inquisitor apparently had her brought, but then she went out again. But before she even started, then he warned the people there that Johanka was spreading heresy and undermining the...
It sounds pretty serious.
It is.
I spoke to Johanka.
And did you manage to convince her?
I'm afraid not.
Quiet.
She's stubborn. She says she answers only to the Blessed Virgin.
Oh dear, Henry. That's not good at all. What about her family? Doesn't she have a relative she might listen to?
No. None of them survived the raid on Skalitz.
She has no one at all left in the world? Poor child.
God be with you.
Matthias? You're better.
Henry? Is it you?
Yes, it's me. Who else would it be?
I'm glad you're here, Henry. I feel a bit better now. I'd even like to eat something. I must tell Johanka. She'll be glad.
Johanka's not here.
Oh? Where is she?
How to begin? Look, things got a bit complicated here. The main thing is, Johanka is in jail, awaiting trial.
What? What happened?
The Virgin Mary is speaking to Johanka, and Johanka is spreading her word to the people. But there's this inquisitor who heard about it and had her arrested. He's putting her on trial for heresy.
Oh my God. How could such a thing happen? But if Our Lady is speaking to her, surely nothing can happen to her.
Well, I hope not. Trouble is, Johanka is very obstinate, and she's likely to say things in court that will just make it worse for her. Listen, Matthias, I need you to go with me and talk to her. Maybe together we can convince her to see sense.
I wish I could. But I'm still too weak to even get out of bed. I'm sorry, Henry. I just can't do it. You know what? Tell her I'm feeling better, and I agree with everything you tell her. Give her this dice. She'll understand. It'll almost be like I was there with you.
Dice?
Oh. It's a long story. Johanka knows all about it. Or you can ask Teresa, too.
All right.
Známe historii kostky.
Henry, please, look out for her. And make sure nothing happens to her.
I'll do my best.
Goodbye. Is somebody here?
Takže za Johankou po třetí.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, good men and happy wives, come, poor or rich, old or young,
About that trial.
Yes.
Dnes už bohužel musím, tak zas někdy příště smajl úsměv.
Ahoj, měj se pěkně. Já to tady vyřídím s Johankou a soud stejně nechám na příště, to znamená asi na úterý. Tak měj se, ahoj.
I spoke to Matthias.
What? But he's lying in a fever, isn't he?
No, he's much better. He asked about you. He wanted to come here, but he's not strong enough yet.
Oh, that's wonderful. You see, Our Lady helped him. And now, I have to do my part.
But doesn't it mean that you've already done your part?
Well,
What would be the point of it all if the Inquisitor were to have you imprisoned now? Or even worse?
It's a message. A final test. I mustn't fail now, after everything.
But you already passed the Virgin Mary's message on. Many people heard it, and many of them have amended their ways. You certainly haven't failed. Look, Matthias gave me this for you, and he asked me to tell you to look out for yourself.
Thank you, Henry. Go now. I need to rest.
No. Takže obávám se, že víc už udělat nemůžem. Jak to vypadá tady s těma questíkama? Ne, kolik je hodin? Takže tady to asi pro dnešek teda fakt zabalím. A příště zkusím zajet za tou Terezou. Tak někdy na večer, aby mě to vydrželo do druhého dne, protože ten soudce, myslím, bude konat až druhý den, když přijdu za tím inkvizitorem. Budu doufat, že mě vydrží mluvka, kterýho se napiju před soudem a doufáme, že Johanku osvobodí, no. Takže zatím ahoj.